Welcome back to the Ultimate Squad Builder. This week we're going to be building a team exclusively out of players who have torn their ACL. And now a quick thing before I start this one, I did create this list before this season, so I may miss players that have torn their ACL this season, although I did quickly go through the list, and I'm pretty sure I got the ones that are worth adding, and I bet nobody can guess who the quarterback is. At quarterback, it's Tom Brady. Tore his ACL in the 2008 season, missed the entire season of course, but you could say he's done alright since coming back from it. Behind him, Carson Palmer, who has torn his ACL on more than one occasion, most recently in 2014, but came back in 2015 and had an MVP caliber season. The poster boy for ACL tears here, Adrian Peterson at running back, because of course he came back from his ACL tear that he had in 2011 to then have an MVP year in 2012 and almost break the all-time rushing yards record. Behind him with a similarly impressive story, Jamaal Charles tore his ACL in 2011, came back in 2012, rushed for 1,500 yards, and then in 2015 tore his ACL again and is having a bit of a slower comeback from that one. I've actually neglected the fullback position here, so we're going to move on to wide receivers. Our first wide receiver, Jordy Nelson. Nelson tore his ACL in the Week 2 preseason game of the 2015 season, but has had a pretty good comeback this season so far. At the number 2 spot, Keenan Allen, who returned from a kidney injury last year to play again this season. Everything was looking great for the Chargers, finally healthy, and then he tears his ACL and is now out for the rest of the season. Jeremy Maclin at the number 3 spot here tore his ACL in 2013 and has had very productive seasons in 2014 and 2015 since then. And then a fourth receiver, because why not, Kelvin Benjamin, who tore his ACL in 2015, of course missed the entire 2015 season, and despite the Panthers struggling to find last season's form, he's not had a bad season so far. At tight end, the one, the only, Rob Gronkowski. He tore his ACL in 2013, came back in 2014, had a pretty good season, the Patriots won a Super Bowl, and as a result of all that, won NFL Comeback Player of the Year. At left tackle, we have Ryan Clady, who missed all of last season with a torn ACL that he got during OTAs. We could technically have the legend Joe Thomas here, but he tore his ACL in either high school or college. I don't remember which one, but it wasn't in the NFL, and I'm trying to go for guys that have torn it in the NFL. At left guard, we have James Carpenter, who tore his ACL in his rookie season but came back pretty strongly, winning a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks. At center, we have Maurkice Pouncey, who in 2013 tore his ACL and MCL when David DeCastro accidentally dove into his leg whilst trying to assist him blocking somebody. He's since of course come back from the injury and has been to a Pro Bowl. At right guard, we have one of the best and most consistent offensive linemen in the NFL, Marshall Yonder, who tore his ACL in 2008 and has come back to be extremely consistent and extremely good. At right tackle, we have Belaga, who tore his ACL in 2013. And that is it with the offense. Looks like it's probably a good idea to tear your ACL. So we start at right end on the defense with Dante Fowler, who of course tore his ACL before ever playing a game in the NFL, missed his entire rookie season. At defensive tackle, we have one of the absolute best in the game, Geno Atkins, who in 2013 signed a 5-year, $55 million extension and then tore his ACL in the game against the Miami Dolphins. Since then, of course, he's come back and continued to be one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. So at left end, I have Cameron Wake, who last year was injured, missed most of the season, played 7 games, and there are a couple of conflicting reports on exactly what it was, ACL, Achilles, but I believe it was an ACL, a torn ACL, and he's been a little bit slow to come back this season, but he does already have 3 sacks and a forced fumble. At left outside linebacker, we have Von Miller, who tore his ACL December 22nd, 2013, which meant he missed the Super Bowl when the Broncos played the Seahawks, came back from the ACL and had 14 sacks in 2014. At middle linebacker, we have Navarro Bowman, who probably suffered one of the worst injuries I've ever seen live on TV myself. In the 2013 NFC Championship game, he tore his ACL and MCL, came back to a defense that was missing a lot of players he used to play with, but still played very well. He had a career high and league leading 154 tackles, went to the Pro Bowl, was named All-Pro, not bad at all considering the injury. Our other middle linebacker suffered the dirtiest injury I've probably ever seen happen live on TV. That's when he tore his ACL playing the New York Jets because of a dirty block into the back of his knees by a Jets lineman. Ended his season in 2012, and although he's come back and had some decent seasons, especially last season, he has struggled to stay healthy since 2012, but like I said, did play all 16 games last season. At right outside linebacker, we have the most impressive player out of all of these people. In 2011, Davis tore his ACL for the third time in 3 years. And now no other NFL players had ever recovered and returned from 3 ACL tears. Davis not only did that, but he recorded at least 100 tackles in every single season since then, has had 9 interceptions since then, 9 forced fumbles since then, was finally named to his first Pro Bowl ever in 2015, was named first team All-Pro, and of course went to the Super Bowl, and then played in that Super Bowl with a broken arm. Behind him at outside linebacker, Sean Lee, who tore his ACL in 2014 in OCAs when Zach Martin blocked him to the ground. He missed the entire 2014 season, but came back in 2015 with a 128 tackle, 2.5 sack performance. Our first cornerback is Darrelle Revis, who tore his ACL in 2012, was shipped off to the Buccaneers, misused by the Buccaneers, was shipped off to the Patriots and won a Super Bowl. Our second cornerback is Jason Verrett, who is on that nightmarishly long list of the San Diego Chargers players that are injured. He's out for the rest of the 2016 season with a partially torn ACL. Our final cornerback is Orlando Scandrick, who tore his ACL last year, missed the entire 2015 season, has been a little bit slow so far coming back. At free safety, we have Tyrann Mathieu, who's doing his best Thomas Davis impression by trying to tear his ACL as many times as he can. He tore it in 2013, he came back in 2014, had some injury issues there as well. 2015 had an excellent season, then tore his ACL again late in that season. At strong safety, I'm playing Eric Berry there because I don't care what Madden says sometimes. He's not only come back from cancer and won Comeback Player of the Year, in 2011 he tore his ACL, he came back, had a very strong season, went to the Pro Bowl. At this point I'm pretty sure there's absolutely nothing in the world that can stop Eric Berry coming back, and so I'm not that worried about playing him at strong safety when Ultimate Team says he's a free safety. At punter we have Chris Jones, who might be the only punter who's ever torn his ACL. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I can't see too many of them tearing ACLs. And a kicker is Mike Nugent, who I know for a fact isn't the only kicker to have ever torn his ACL, but he's the one I've gone with here. Our kick and punt returner is Travis Benjamin, who tore his ACL in 2013, had a pretty good season with the Browns in 2015, and is having a pretty decent season this year with the Chargers. Our third down running back is Danny Woodhead, because why not have 3 players from the same team that have torn their ACL in the same season that were all basically starters. Danny Woodhead obviously a bit of a different kind of starter, but still just as important. It's insane. Danny Woodhead tore his ACL in week 2 this season, and as for the head coaches and long snappers, I wasn't able to, or didn't really try very hard to find any that had torn their ACL, so if you know of any, let me know. And that does it for this team. It's an extremely good team. 88 rated offense, 85 rated defense. I mean, just look at the people on this team. If you want to play with the all ACL team on Xbox One, it'll cost you 2.5 million coins, and on PlayStation 4 it'll cost you 2.6 million coins. And just remember, look at how good these players are, and maybe next time you have a chance, you should consider tearing your ACL.